Hello there, welcome back to The Bleeding Truth. My name's Sally McNally and I'm the Irish midwife.
And I'm Bridget, Sally's daughter.
And I've just recently come back from a trip to Ireland and I got to visit with my sisters, my wonderful 5 sisters. And so I'm introducing them to you because I love them and I want to share them with you. So the next sister we're going to talk about here on this episode is my sister Ronnie. Ronnie, her full name is Veronica, and we call her Ronnie.
Yeah. So I'm excited. And if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts, please make sure to give us a review. It would mean the world. And stay tuned because these are just some extra bonus episodes that, we're throwing in there as well, along with the other awesome guests that we've been having on.
Yeah. But I grew up in a house full of women, right? There was 6 girls, and we used to call ourselves the 3 big sisters and the 3 little ones. So the 3 big ones and the 3 little ones. And my mother assigned a big one with a little one to kind of watch over them.
That's smart.
I know. So I was blessed to have Ronnie. She was the one that kind of watched over me. And so she used to say to me that she was the mommy eagle and I was baby eagle.
Oh.
And to this day, when we're writing to each other or sending cards, we sign that as like mommy eagle and baby eagle.
That's cute.
But she is probably the kindest person I know. She's full of loving, gentle kindness, and she kind of embodies that with everything she does. Like even her gardening, she's like talks to the plants and babies them and encourages them, and everything just flourishes and grows all around her. And the same, she does that with her animals. She always has a cat and a dog around her, and she talks to them and she babies them. And recently I got to see her opening the window, and her cat was like looking to see if the strangers were there. That was us. And she was encouraged. The cat just comes in the window and stands there eating right there on the windowsill, and there's this constant little chat. But I just, of course, really enjoy her, and I feel like I got a lot of my own personality from watching her and talking to her and trying to absorb her. Really, I feel like that song, "I've got all my sisters in me." That's one of our songs we all sing together. But I love that I got a little bit of that. I sometimes like I'm talking to someone and I kind of like hear Ronnie coming out of my mouth, and that's really good, I think. But like a little example might be when I was a wee kid. We all believed in Santa Claus, but she was a little older and she knew that I still believed in Santa Claus. And I don't know what age I was, but I was very young and I was very excited. It was Christmas Eve and I was up at the top of the stairs, and she opened a window up the top of the stairs and she had me listening out to see if Santa's sleigh was coming. And I think she knew that there was like sleigh bells or some kind of little bell tinkling out there. Or maybe she had one of the other sisters tinkling a bell. But I could hear the bell and I was like, that's his sleigh coming. And it just made it all so real and so exciting for me. And I always remember that. And she was just so happy looking at my excitement. But then maybe a year later or so, my dad was working Christmas Eve and he used to dress up as Santa and come in the morning as Santa Claus. But he didn't make it home in time, and so she donned the outfit. He had the beard and the whole... And so she came in, but the poor girl had a sore throat, and I remembered she'd had a cold and a sore throat, and she was trying to do Santa Claus as I woke up. And I first thought, waking up, I was thinking, poor Santa Claus got very thin this year. And then I was thinking, Santa Claus sounds like Ronnie.
Yeah.
And then Santa Claus has got Ronnie's slippers on. But I still was so excited and so happy because it was Santa, and it was Ronnie, and she was the embodiment of joy for me. So I have very strong memory of that. But yeah, she was the one that kind of like used to organize us on our vacations. There was no time to waste. Every hour we had to do something. At 9 o'clock we were
That you're not very good with.
No, I wished I'd memorized that.
Didn't absorb that part.
Darn it. But she had us organized. It was like reading and math and tennis and swimming, and yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I'm sure there's lots more stories, but just that kindness, I could go to her at any stage and talk to her about anything, and that's the same to this day. So I really, I'm grateful that I have sisters like that.
That's so special.
It is, isn't it? Yeah,
why couldn't you have given me some sisters?
I tried. I tried. We tried getting pregnant again. Wasn't for the one to try.
Okay. All right, let's hear from Ronnie.
We were like, what position? What do we need? What day of the month? Oh, yeah.
How about we hear from Ronnie's clip?
Yes, let's listen to Ronnie's clip. Now, Ronnie is a little shy. She didn't want to be on camera, so we just have her voice. And she has this lovely house that her and the family escaped to. It's up by the sea in Wexford. It's a beautiful little place, but she's planted all those plants in her garden. So we're walking around as we're talking, looking at this lovely garden. Yeah. That she's planted.
And Wexford is beautiful. I do remember being there when I was like pretty young.
Yeah.
With my cousins staying at their house, partly when it was still being built. Yeah. So I don't know if the garden was probably as great as it is now, but Wexford is beautiful.
It's lots more plants now than when you were there. But she's called this little place, it's a big house really, but she calls it Nirvana.
Oh,
yeah, so here's a little glimpse at Nirvana.
Awesome.
Hello there, Sally McNally, the Irish midwife, and I have my fifth sister, Ronnie, and she doesn't want to be on camera, and it's first thing in the morning here in beautiful Wexford in a lovely place called Ronnie Point. Ronnie has a beautiful house here, and it's her escape home. She escapes out of the city to this beautiful place by the sea. And so I'm just going to walk around here, and good morning, Ronnie.
Good morning, Sally. Hope you had a good sleep.
I slept like a log.
Oh, that's great.
And it's our last morning. We're heading to the airport after this wee interview.
Yeah. We had a lovely day yesterday with Sally.
Yes.
We got going for a lovely walk in the woods by the beach.
Yes.
In Courtown. It was beautiful.
Yes, fabulous. And Ronnie, I was going to ask you if you had any stories you'd like to share with us about our childhood, or your favourite stories that you remember.
Well, one that popped straight into mind was a very unusual day when we were all aged from, I'd say, 13 to about 7, inclusive. 6 of us were allowed to take a train journey to a place called Butlins in Mosney in County Meath. And there was a lot of preparation the day before and packing, and my older sister Phil was given the task and duty of looking after all the towels, all the food and all of us. And we often think back how unfair that was for her. And Butlins was a holiday camp. People went and stayed for a week, but you could also take a day trip.
Yeah.
And our parents decided they'd let us go.
Yeah.
So we were early at the train station. 9 o'clock, and we headed off to Butlins, the 6 of us. With Phil protecting us. So we arrived in Butlins probably 2 hours later, and she immediately lost control of the situation. before she could organise us, Teresa, for starters, got into her swimming togs, dived into a swimming pool, and had to be rescued by the lifeguard as she was about to drown. She couldn't swim, and she dived in at the deep end. And we were all watching all this happening, and got a little bit of a fright, and then got over it and proceeded on and went on every ride and as quickly as we could. And poor Phil was carrying all the food, and minding Sally, actually, who was the baby. He was only about 6 years old at the time. As the day went on, we discovered these little boats. You could get into the boats and you could row the boats out onto little man-made islands. And I myself took the twins into one boat and I rowed them out to one island and left one on one island and one on another island. And
what a story.
At some stage realised Phil was on the embankment shouting and calling for us to come back, and they had to send out some of the staff to rescue the twins off the islands, and we missed the train home. I had to wait for a couple of hours, I think supervised by somebody at this stage, until the train arrived, and our poor parents were at the train station, having realised shortly after we left that they'd done a very, very risky thing. We all survived, and I don't think we never told them the true story of what happened with Teresa and her near drowning episode. For years.
What a story, Ronnie, what a story. And why do you think that story stuck with you so vividly?
Probably because we had been very sheltered, and there were very strict rules and regulations always. We were always, when we were younger, we would have been kept in the playground. We couldn't go outside when we lived in Fairview. And this was like, with no parents, with no grown-ups looking after us. Like, we weren't even grown-ups ourselves, and we were free,
Oh yeah.
It was an incredible feeling, and there was so many rides to go on. Everything was fun there. It was lovely. It was a fabulous day. We all survived, and we all came home.
Yeah. And you kind of created a freedom for your own children here in this beautiful place by the sea. Like, I remember when my own kid came to stay with you for a few days, the first thing she said when she came back to all her friends was, in Ireland, the children are free. They can do whatever they want. And it's still like that here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Now, they were very lucky because they were here at a time when they had friends their own age, and their gangs of boys and gangs of girls, and it was play all day long.
Gangs might have a different intonation in America.
Oh, really? Well, there might have been 4 or 5 girls the same age or similar ages, and 4 or 5 boys of similar ages.
Yeah.
And they had such fun.
Yes.
And their friends would come down from Dublin and join in and have sleepovers and play tennis, go swimming. Oh, it was fabulous.
Yes.
I had a pretty good time, lovely childhood.
Yeah, isn't that fabulous?
I can remember it being great fun.
Yeah.
When we were young, when we lived in Fairview, and we had the playground, and we played outside from morning till night, really. And we used to have this game called Hospital. We had only a little tiny garden, and Mammy used to say, we'd ask, could we play the hospital game? And Mammy'd say, yes, but there's only to be girls coming in. So if you were coming to hospital, you had to bring your own blanket, your own pillow, and you could just make a little space and you were in hospital, right?
Yeah.
And usually somebody had something wrong with them, like a cut knee or sore arm, and they got special treatment. But after a little while, it was probably boring without any boys, and someone would say, can the boy next door come in? Just him. And Mammy said, well, just him. Thomas lived next door. So Thomas would come in, and a little while later someone else would say, what about the Flynn twins? Can they come in? They were twin boys. They'd come in. Then there'd be Derek Davis, he'd come in. The next thing, the hospital would be in an uproar. And then Mum, being the main nurse or whatever, she would throw everyone out. Whether you could walk or not, whether you were better or not. You were thrown out.
Well, Ronnie, I remember growing up with you, and you'd get us organised on our summer vacations, and you'd have lists of things for us to do, and every hour there was something to do. Like 1 hour we'd be doing math, and another hour we'd be reading, and another hour we'd be walking, and another hour playing tennis. And
sorry about that.
It was great. I loved it. You were very organised. And so, Ronnie, you love nature, right? And you have a green thumb. Obviously, I've been just going around looking at all of your plants, and you planted every single one of those, and you've created a beautiful little peaceful nirvana, and your place is actually called
yeah, we love
nirvana.
it here. It's very very peaceful and pleasant, I must say.
Yes, I love you so much, Ronnie.
I love you too, Sally. And give Bridget my love when you get home. Give her a big hug and kiss from me.
Yeah.
She remembers being here too.
Yes, you're my nanny eagle.
You're my baby eagle.
I love you. Thank you.
So thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it. And if you like what we're doing, give us a bit of a review on Apple. That would help us so much. And if you come across a subscribe button, press the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything.